Baltimore is back, says Mayor Scott. He unveiled some priorities for 2023 in his State of the City address, which took place last night. And he spoke to a packed house for, I don't know, almost 30 minutes, outlining some of his accomplishments in the last 2.5 years in office. And you remember, we spoke to the mayor within his first 100 days, and optimistic. He has a different way of looking at things and wanting to do things. Change takes time. He cannot turn the city of Baltimore around in 2.5 years. So what he's asking for, what he's building up to, is Baltimore giving him 4 more years. Mayor Scott emphasized the reported decreases in homicides and non-fatal shootings, as well as unemployment and vacant houses. Homicides, non-fatal shootings, down. Now, you may say, what are you talking about? No, not eliminated. There has been a decrease in the homicides and non-fatal shootings. Now, are we where we need to be as a city with regards to this violent crime? No. But progress has been made. Unemployment numbers are down. Along with growth in small businesses and the economy, Scott talked about new school buildings and renovated facilities, building library, rec centers. You know, it sounded very optimistic. He said, and he wanted to point out that Baltimore was heading in the wrong direction. According to Mayor Scott, he was elected because he wants to do something different. Now, has he in 2.5 years erased everything bad that's happened in Baltimore? No. No one can do that. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes determination, and it takes a coalition of people. He addressed recent violence, specifically involving young people. This has been on the rise. His comments, of course, followed a violent weekend where several teens were shot, including 12-year-old Jalen Richards, who was killed. One of the ways his administration is looking to curb the trend is by deploying a summer youth engagement strategy. There's also going to be curfews. But in order for this to work, we need the help of the village. That means everybody has to help out. So they're also talking about this youth engagement strategy. It's going to include extended hours at the rec centers, midnight basketball, summer pool parties, and summer camps. We're bringing back the Baltimore Lit Teen Series, putting 7,000 people to work through Youth Works. And yes, we'll be enforcing the curfew, Mayor Scott said. Baltimore has a lot of work to do. And the mayor acknowledged this, but he also said that work has to be done at the local, state, and federal levels. So here we are. He also did the State of the City in Cherry Hill. Said he wanted to take it out of City Hall and bring it to the community, brought it to the people. I thought that was a good move. Now, 2024 is when the election is. And I think that he's getting ahead of things. Campaign. This was a campaign speech. It was the State of the City, but it was also a campaign speech. He is preparing to run for re-election. Has the mayor of Baltimore done enough to earn your vote? He talked about guns. Oh, hey, Tina, how's it going? Yes, the mayor also talked about guns, talked about ghost guns, talked about getting guns off the street, talked about that. But let me double down on this. He cannot clean up the entire city in 2.5 years. Baltimore has been going downward for a long time. You can't clean everything in 2.5 years. And I think that everybody knows that. So who, if not Mayor Scott, then who? Right? I think that we need to give this young man another 4 years. I do. I do. If we bring in somebody else, right? You give him 4 years, and then you say, you know what? We don't like what he's doing. You ain't doing things fast enough. So then you bring in somebody else, right? And then they got their own ideas. And then would you get him 4 years? And he's out, this is not working. If we bring in somebody else. No, I mean, we need some stability here. We need somebody with a plan. We need somebody who's invested. We need someone who's not corrupt. And one thing that I can say about Brandon Scott is that he cares about Baltimore. He talks about it all the time. He's the son of the city of Baltimore. And talked about renovations and, trying to bring new businesses. But most importantly, talked about renovating the shopping center at Emerson Village, shopping center in Walbrook Junction. A lot of things that need to be done. But Tina, what are you saying? Parents need to stand their ground too. What do you mean by that, Tina? Are you saying that parents need to get involved with their kids? I hope that's what you mean, because it is true. The people need to care. Absolutely. People care, right? But I think that also people are afraid sometimes to interject. See, when I was a kid, adults you didn't even know could interject, and you respected them because they were adults. But your parents and your grandparents raised you to respect adults. Nowadays, a lot of times, parents say, look, it ain't your father, it ain't me, your mother, you ain't gotta listen to nobody. You know, they kind of, you ain't my father, and you can't tell nobody nothing. Yes, people are out of control. Tina's saying people are out of control, and I agree with that. People are definitely out of control. So I think that in the weeks and months to come, Mayor Brandon Scott is going to make his case for re-election. He's going to make his case as to why he thinks that he has earned your vote, why he wants another opportunity for another term as the mayor. Now, some people are going to say no. Some people are going to say that. And I think that this is going to be a difficult re-election campaign. I don't think that it's going to be easy. I think that folks are frustrated. I think that Brandon Scott, is going to have to make his case to the people of Baltimore as to why he feels he has earned their votes. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's not going to be easy. I was talking to some senior citizens earlier today about Brandon Scott, and both of the ladies that I talked to in their 70s, they were not happy with the mayor. So I asked them, why? What are you upset about? What hasn't the mayor done? And they couldn't tell me. They started saying the same things that we've been saying, talking about crime and guns and streets, and this kind of stuff. Yes, he's had 2.5 years. And I told the ladies, look, I don't work for the mayor, right? But I think that the mayor's doing a good job. I think the mayor's doing the best job that he can do. And when I really started talking to the ladies about it, because they couldn't really pinpoint what he had done wrong, they were just saying that they were upset. So I said, what station do you watch for the news when you watch the news? And both the ladies said, we watch Fox 45. It's like, what? But of course. So they have been drilled with this propaganda from the right-leaning Fox 45. If you notice, Fox 45 will say everybody who's elected to any office in Baltimore, they say is terrible. It's just negative. It's a lot of negativity. Now, it's not all negative. Sometimes they highlight things that are positive that are happening in the city. But when they have to talk to some people, When a crime happens, when they want to get somebody on the screen, they don't get the best people. They don't get the most marketable people. When they're talking to citizens, right? They try to highlight negativity. And when you talk about politicians in this city, they tear them all down. Well, I mean, except for through Vignaraja. Oh, they love through Vignaraja. But everybody else, Fox 45 tears down. But I'm looking forward to this election season 2024. Has the mayor of Baltimore, has Brandon Scott done enough to get your vote? As I said, it's going to be tough for him. And we're definitely going to have him on the show. But it's going to be tough for him to make this case. But I hope that he makes the case, because I think that he still has more work to do. And I feel that he should be reelected. Let me know your thoughts